health and safety plan, okay? Again, this is a plan to ensure safety, and a lot of firms will call this a site safety plan, especially if you're working in an industrial sector of the economy, then they would probably call this a site safety plan. If you're working in manufacturing, retail, any physical plant location, they're going to call this a health and safety plan. And these plans are encouraged by OSHA, which is a national organization, government agency to ensure safety and health. And generally, the goal is to first understand an organizational structure, okay? And so we have to start with an organizational structure that's going to support overall objectives and identify a leader, okay, who has the authority to direct all activities for your firm or organization or team, to identify the personnel needed for each project that you are responsible for accomplishing, and assign general functions and responsibilities to your key personnel. And then this also, the organizational structure of a health and safety plan shows the lines of authority, responsibility, and communication among all of your participating members. And this identifies the interface with your response community. And when something happens, how do you inform the responsible authorities that are the fire, police, security agencies, health, any of these other response agencies? And so the organizational structure requires a strong management commitment to safety, okay? And safety is one of these activities, these concepts that's driven downward through an organization from management. So it starts with key management buy-in for safety, and then that mentality of being safe in your activities and your work functions is promoted through the organization. And it requires close contact among your workers, your supervisors, your management, and open communication on safety, as well as other job-related matters, okay? And so really promoting this and fostering this idea of safety is critical for any of these plans to get buy-in from your employees, okay? It also requires a little bit of housekeeping, right? Maintaining documentation in certain places, making sure that your workplace is in orderly condition, effective quality control for your environment that you operate in, and being able to locate your documents inside your organization and how to respond generally will require you having, certain routines in place that people have trained and practiced. And so we start with well-developed selection, job placement, and advancement procedures in developing this organizational structure. The reason we do that is because we want to make sure that all of your employees are clear on when an interruption occurs in your business, who do you report to, who do you respond to, and who are you responsible for subsequently communicating actions to, okay? And then driving health and safety requires a lot of training practice to emphasize indoctrination and follow-up instruction on safety procedures. And so in order to do this, we use what we call a work plan, okay? And this is the document where you have your site records, your waste inventories, right? So if you're dealing with benzochemicals or you're dealing with different cleaning agents, your safety data sheets and your inventories of all your waste and your disposal routines, your manifest for your generator. And this is something that's really significant. A lot of businesses have generators, but they're not maintained. And so when you need a generator, it won't work. And so just, maintaining your fire equipment, your extinguishers, your generator, any of the other ancillary equipment that you need to respond to a problem, right? Of course, any previous sampling and monitoring data. So if you're in a business where you have to do routine sampling of the products that you build, or quality assurance or quality control, making sure you have access to that data as well as any site photos for communicating information on the site. Now, this is also helpful for people that are trying to access your site in response to, like a fire, right? And so if you're able to locate your handbooks and take those off site, when people are going to respond, you have a way of communicating to them your your organization, how it's laid out. You have photos. Okay, here's where this is located inside the organization. So that will help people to orient themselves when they're responding to an interruption to your business. And then, of course, any state and local environmental and health agency records. Okay, so this is really all of your documents for your plant, for your workspace, for your retail shop in a handbook that you can take, that you know where it's at, that will give you an ability to kind of start from wherever you open up that book and operate when there's an interruption. And so this work plan should define work objectives in terms of what the objectives of the individual jobs are. And so they can include job descriptions and actual, all of your information for how work is completed or done. And so really process-oriented approach to what activities make up and comprise your business, but also should determine methods for accomplishing objectives, right? So if you have inventory and you have disposal techniques, how do we manage that, right? How do we go about sampling and ensuring quality or anything like that in terms of safety? And also the personnel requirements. Now we're getting into an environment where there's a lot of certification required to do even some general functions inside business, right? And so you want to know that you have all personnel requirements gathered up as far as training and certification. And you also need to ensure that you have an understanding of each of your employees' knowledge and skill level, okay, against the tasks that they perform. And this can be translated into emergency response activities, right? If a person has a certain competence or skill level in different areas of their business, then you're going to pair them with the skills and tasks that go with recovery as well, that they're knowledgeable about. And of course, we want to also determine equipment requirements, right? And so a lot of companies, they buy the equipment and they use it, they operate it, but if it's working, the documentation that goes with the equipment, instruction manuals, serial numbers, model numbers to be able to get replacement parts for equipment that's affected by an interruption or any of this, okay? So ensuring that you have all your documentation for your machinery and your equipment as well should be included in this work plan. So effectively, it's anything that goes into the nature of your work, the workspace, and anything that goes into and is taken out of that working environment. We want to be able to document and track that information, including employees and their comfort levels with skills and their certifications.